Woo! What's up, everybody, and thank you for stopping by. You have reached Critically Drinking with Rico and Rashawn. We're just going to do a really short stream. Say hello. Excuse me. Sorry. Did not mute the telephone. All right, so we're just doing a short stream. Rico, I saw you enjoying the Mardi Gras music.
Yes. I love me some good old fashioned Narlands, as my girl Sherelle will say. Narlands, not New Orleans, Narlands. That Mardi Gras
Hmm.
music is I need to look up into the history of it. It's uplifting to me. It's
Yeah,
good. I love it.
now definitely.
Ain't
Now,
in no
me and you were.
crawdads or no gator, but everything else
See,
about Narlands I love.
I am definitely interested. I wanted to just briefly unpack because I stopped by the stream with you and Brother Clarence, and you guys got a dose of the truth. You can't handle the truth, Rico. Yeah, all up in the
No,
chat, man. Hello,
no, I
Reza
can't.
Neal. Thank you for stopping by. Intellectual Soapbox. Definitely appreciate you, and we expect to see you soon. Twitch Gang, Kamaru Fresh. Definitely appreciate you for stopping by. Yeah, we're gonna keep it real brief because Mr. Rico got some things to do, but I wanted to have a quick conversation because yeah, he was in Broke Clearance. Let's talk the better black life, and he was assaulted by the truth. Yeah, chaos in the chat, chaos on the panel. What
Just
happened?
chaos, chaos, chaos,
What
chaos.
was the conversation about? Because I thought it was about YouTube beefs.
Nah, I mean it was, and thank you to brother Racer Neil. He was there. He or she. I'm sorry. I apologize if I don't know. And I'm not sure if I saw Kamaru Fresh because when I am, on the stream, sometimes I'm talking. Sometimes I get to see who's in the chat and who's not. I know Racer Neil was, and the way that they was trying to run the chat. It was very admirable with what they were trying to do. Um, the YouTube stream, the stream initially was about YouTube beef. I don't know why Bro Clarence titled it that because initially the premise had nothing to do with beef. It was literally, about myself and Brother Clarence. We were on Uncut with Daryl the previous day, and we felt like some of the points of views that we were trying to get off, we ended up not being able to really get our points off with clarity. So we felt like, okay, we ended up ending the stream. He left the stream, I left the stream. We were like boxed in, and our positions were misrepresented or misunderstood. So he wanted to do this stream today so we could clearly state what our positions was and clarify our positions without a lot of interruptions. Because a lot of times when you're on these streams, people interrupt. You say left, they say you said left to the left, right. And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. So we wanted to have that opportunity to do it. He started out well. He was on there for like an hour before I came up, and he went over all the things that he went over back and forth, and how he was misunderstood, and he was able to offer clarity to what he was trying to say. So then he dropped the stream. He allowed me a chance to come up, and we were continuing to talk because I came in on the tail end of his. He saw me in the beginning of mine. So we both knew we were in the same space. We're like, look, these young guys are just not, they're misunderstanding us. I'm not going to say they're misrepresenting us. It kind of, towards the end, we were felt misrepresented, but they really misunderstood what we were trying to say. So as we're going through the conversation, and I'm not quite sure how, but at some point during the space of the conversation, chaotic came up. So I'm just going, I'm not going to do any ad hominems at the moment. He came up into the conversation. And with him coming up into the conversation, I think I had made a mention that, you and I, we're going to do a stream tomorrow and we're going to unpack the ideology and the mentality. Well, even prior to that, this was one of the things where I got misunderstood in Daryl, because I do want to talk about this. When I was trying to tell them in the manosphere space, people keep putting out this narrative that women, black women in particular, are choosing a education or a career Oh, I'm not going to say career. I'm going to say education specifically. They're choosing an education over a relationship or marriage. And I find that very troubling. I find it insane. It makes no sense. Because for me, in one breath, they say, as a race of people, we're in last place for everything, to include education. So my thing is, I know the number one driver to get someone out of poverty is education. So I'm like, why are we not pushing a narrative for all of us to get educated? Men, women, and children. I mean, I don't get why, and of course their counter argument is, well, specifically the word is women are choosing education over marriage. So I'm like, you're saying they can do one or the other. You're not saying they can do both. They're saying, oh, I'd rather have an education than a marriage. And I'm like, do we understand how insane that sounds? And then when I pulled up the stats, and I'm like, only 36% of Black women in this country have a college degree. So the other 67% or 64% are uneducated, but they're equally as not married. So it has to be something else other than an education for the reason for them not getting married. So because when me and Brother Clarence talked about it earlier today, I said it sounds like to me what they're saying is they rather have an entire segment of uneducated Black women that would make them more marriageable. But I'm like, but then now you're saying you rather have women in a position of economic need, because we know the more educated you are, the more economic power you have, the more spending, but your economic earning potential is greater with an education than without an education. Statistics show a college graduate makes almost $1 million more than a high school graduate over a lifetime. I'm like, so you guys talk about generational wealth, but you want to take an entire half of us and make them not get a college degree, thereby denying all untold numbers of billions of dollars of wealth to come into the community. You got to make this make sense to me. I'm sitting there saying, so because it's statistically, it's proven a college graduate makes on average almost $1 million more than a high school graduate over a lifetime. I mean, unless I'm confused, that's what I got. So why would we not want more families of two people in the household, both with a college education? I'm not talking about people have to have an education. I'm talking about what's this ideology that speaks of discouraging women in our community from getting educated and simply saying because they got educated, they didn't choose a man. And then I went further on to say, if your spouse if she doesn't have an education, then she's in a position to need. I don't want a woman who needs me. I want a woman who wants me. So when I hear people say, Black women always say, I don't need a man, I'm like, I'm okay with that. Because I don't want a woman to need me. I don't want someone to come into my life economically depressed that they need me. I want them to want me. Because my belief is, if, for example, in any relationship that's based on need, when you no longer can provide, the need goes away. But if I want to be in a relationship, and it's not just a romantic relationship, a friendship, if it's need based, when that person can no longer provide that need, you leave. And I was like, I don't get why they don't get that. So it's okay, the whole premise, the whole knock on an independent woman. I'm not telling a woman to be independent, but I'm like, why is that such an intimidating factor? Because to me, I'm I want to be among independent women who don't need me. I want you to want me. and vice versa. So that the entire concept that where I got into a conflict with them was, and of course I was called a feminist, white, everything else under the board, right? So it's like,
You're a
okay, whatever.
feminazi
Right,
beta white knight.
feminazi, right? Because I'm like, oh, you never agree with. I'm like, y'all cry about the sister code, but I'm supposed to ascribe to the bro code. I'm like, the reality is this. I don't take feminist points of views. I take points of views that make fucking sense. If they're unfortunately, yes, sir.
And I just want to say real quick, I just want to say peace to my aunt. She saw her pop up in the chat, so definitely appreciate you giving us any of your time on this
Mhm.
beautiful Sunday. But Rico, please go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So again, that was the whole premise of what I was getting at into, where they had got me wrapped up, and then I think last part, MrBest came in, and it was hilarious to me because I think JB came in, and we got into the conversation about housewives, and I'm like, are you serious? We talking 2022, 2022. I'm okay with it. Are you telling me that you don't want your wife? I said, because we're gonna Thanos snap. None of the black women got a college degree. So I'm assuming they work in retail, they're waiting tables in restaurants. Because the bottom line, if we talk about black women with college education still being at the bottom, where the hell you think they're gonna be without a college education? Because before that, you know what they were doing? They were cleaning white people houses. They were maids, hotel housekeepers, and so forth, because that was called unskilled labor. So that's what we're saying. We're saying we're going to take half of our population and make them unskilled labor. It ain't, because I think oftentimes when they talk about these things, they don't think about them realistically. I'm like, so now it's 2022. JB, well, I want a housewife. I'm like, and you're making what? $100 million? Because if you're telling me, okay, so you're making $60,000-$70,000 a year, you got a wife and 2 kids, so the 4 of y'all gonna live off $60,000-$70,000 a year. We can do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm telling you, 95% of us ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna do it. So this whole concept, this whole structure that you guys, because somebody done told y'all to put it out there, and it's fine. It sounds great. But in reality, I'm like, most of y'all can't give up your damn PS5. And I'm talking about the guys. You got $1,500, $2,000 worth of video games. And then you want to take, but your wife ain't supposed to want new shoes and your kids ain't supposed to want them. And I'm like, knock it off. Stop pretending like we can go backwards when we know we can't. So you're asking for your modern men living in modern times asking for traditional women. So only they're supposed to suffer. They're gonna watch you live fat off the tit, in all these rewards, and they should want nothing. In what world does that make sense? So even when I was telling JB, I was like, and he came back, I was like, yeah, that's just not gonna work. Now, if you make $100 million, by all means, get your housewife. But if you're not making some ridiculous amounts of money, she better get a degree, she better get a good paying job, and you better you will be happy in that partnership, because you know what that partnership means? You can get your $400,000-$500,000 house, you can get you a decent car, you can get your $300-$400 a month cell phone bill, you got your cable, you got all your video games, you got all the shit you want to eat, because it all comes with a price tag. And that price tag does not include you having a housewife or somebody that's being submissive and all this other nonsense and fuckery y'all have. So again, TBE, I'm like, yeah, because I'm sitting there singing. So when women are arguing this, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. I can't argue with a factual argument because you say, "Oh, you always go with the women." Like, I'm not gonna argue against them just because. So those were the premises that I was trying to discuss. Go ahead.
So, quick question, because I know when Kevin Samuels talks about, excuse me, pursuing your education, he doesn't say don't pursue it. He says don't pursue it to the exclusion of a relationship. He says most other cultures successfully pursue both a relationship and education.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, do you think there's a missed talking point? Like, is this something where we're actually saying the same thing, but we're just there's some disconnect?
Yeah, the disconnect is you're right because again, like I said, the concept. I've heard him say that, but then I think the misnomer is, I think the problem comes in. I hear him say that in one breath: go to college, get your education, find a husband, and then maybe later in the stream, women are choosing education over. You know what I'm saying? It's like no, it's not the same thing as what you said earlier. What they stick on is what he said later because literally in the stream we were having, because I kept asking them, what woman is choosing an education over a relationship? And they swore up and down women were doing it.
You don't
So
think
none
they
of them
are?
came back, huh?
So you don't think they are?
That they're choosing
Generally speaking.
hell no. They're not
Hmm.
choosing an education instead of a relationship. No.
So if you're focusing exclusively on your education for 4 to 6 years, and
Mhm.
during that time you're focused in like a laser and you're not dating, aren't you then? I mean, because opportunity cost. If you put all your eggs in one basket, there's none in the other basket. So I mean,
Okay.
obviously, we're obviously like by the
Hmm.
numbers that you even cite yourself, we're
Hmm.
not successfully pursuing education and relationships.
Hmm.
So how are you saying that women are? I mean, how do you come
But
to that
no, no, no.
conclusion?
But no, I can't say that women aren't. But you can't say that women are. Is what I'm saying.
So you're saying it's unprovable?
It's unprovable because the fact of
Okay.
the matter is, because what I sat there and said is, and what I started was, I was like, y'all saying the premise as if these women had options to date,
Oh.
right?
Yeah. Real quick, Rico,
Hmm.
we got a guest.
There you go. That's my guy.
Yes.
What's up with you,
What
Mr.
I'm saying
Best?
is that if in fact we're saying that they chose an education, okay, they
Mm,
drop out of school, where's all the men?
Hmm.
And further to further the argument is, what about the 64% that's not in college? They're not getting relationships or marriages.
Okay, so what you're
mm.
saying is because the bulk of women are not, like the bulk are
Married,
not
period.
educated. So if they're not married,
Yes.
period, you're saying we're hinging the argument on the wrong part.
Yes,
It's not about the education,
exactly.
period. We're just not
That's what
prioritizing a
I'm saying.
relationship.
Exactly.
Okay, now we're
That's
here.
exactly what I'm saying. Was like
Real quick, my
only
speaks.
46% of them are get college degrees. The other 64% don't have college degrees, but the vast majority of them
Mm.
are unmarried. So what's the reason for them?
It has nothing to do with education.
Has
Education is
nothing to
not
do with
the.
education.
That's not the. I don't know, the primal
The
driver. That's not the.
linchpin.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my speak says in a sense they are choosing an education career over relationships, maybe not intentionally, but like to your point, what everybody's choosing something over relationships. So even if you
Yes.
don't choose education, you're still choosing freedom over relationships,
Right.
or so
What are the
relationships have basically lost their value.
64% who don't get education choosing because they are also
Not
vastly
choosing, yeah.
unmarried?
So
So that's
maybe
what we need to discover.
so maybe real quick, I'm gonna let Mr. Best jump in, but I'm gonna ask this question, and Mr. Best, you be the first one. So maybe it's not that they're choosing something over relationships. Relationships have become so depreciated that they don't. It's not even a choice. A choice for relationships is actually a negative choice, like to harm yourself. Like it's a detriment. It's a liability. So it's not a choice you would make because it's a Nobody chooses a liability intentionally. So maybe relationships now are seen as a liability. So everything is better than a relationship. So Mr.
And,
Best, what
and,
you think about that?
and just real quick, I want to say this to put a pin in it. I think both sexes are doing it. They're
Hmm.
saying it's women. I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
women and men that are doing it,
Yeah.
which is why we have such a huge gap. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Best.
here. I'm here. I'm here. My snack can wait. Yeah. I think that a lot of times, I mean, when it comes to making a choice between career or relationships nowadays, I think people just they they don't understand the dynamics that both are really different. Like one thing don't really got nothing to do with the other. You know what I mean? And I love when Rico was like, it don't matter if somebody fix your plate or not. Like that ain't gonna be the telltale of what if y'all gonna stay together or not. Like there's so much other things that goes on within a relationship. But a lot of times, and I'm gonna just be honestly and frank, a lot of times these viewpoints come from people who have never ever been married. You know what I mean? They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And they're just sitting on a soapbox and they think they know everything and they don't know shit. Rico's dying laughing because I'm telling you, I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so when you get people like Rico coming on here, or you get people like, like a Bro Clam, shout out to him, or whoever who been there. You know what I mean? Who's been there? Like I tell everybody, I said the difference between, you know, just dating as a normal person and being married is the difference between being in the minor leagues to the major leagues. There is a difference. You're gonna have to level up your game. And if you don't think you don't think you gotta level up your game, then don't get married. That's all I can tell you. Because things change. And they change quickly. Some things change gradually. You know what I mean? So you gotta be ready for both. Because they both coming at you. You know what I'm saying? And it's a blessing, but in those blessings, you're gonna have to go through some things. You know what I mean? Especially when you start getting older or your parents start getting older and they help start going down. Yeah, you know what I mean? Your kids get older, they start feeling certain ways and acting certain ways. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And everything else. You know what I mean? So salute to y'all, man. But yeah, with that being said, um, a lot of times they don't know what they're talking about, you know? And remember, you can't. What I've learned from just being married, or even just moving across different places within the world, because I moved from one coast to another. You can never say what you're gonna do when you're in a new experience until you experience it, because you're gonna get tested, and when the test comes, it's going to show what you're really gonna do. And sometimes you're gonna f up and drop the ball. It's just a part of life. Okay, you're gonna take an L sometimes. But in that L, it's not really an L because it doesn't become an L because you can learn something from it. If you learn something from it and you get better and you grow, then it's not an L. It's basically something you have to learn from. Okay, it was a teaching tool. It only becomes an L when you don't learn your lesson and you keep repeating the same thing over and over again. That's when it becomes an L. So that's really the thing. But a lot of times they sit on here and they say these things, and one has nothing to do with the other. So if a woman wants to choose her career or choose a certain path because for a long time women have been told that they're lesser or that they have to be housemaids or they have to take care of the kids or they got to stay at home, and now they have more freedom and they feel like they can actually use those freedoms to promote them being independent or them having substance. Guess what? They're going to do that. Okay, if you're being treated as lesser in a society for so long and they finally give you something, you know what I mean, you're gonna hold on to that. You know what I mean? So it's not the fact that women, some are unruly. Yes, okay, some are unruly. Okay, I will put that. Some, not all, are unruly. Shout out to M3. Some are
Thank
unruly,
you.
but it's not all women that's unruly. You know what I mean? And I hate when they do that. And a lot of times it's just from men who are insecure, who just really want to control women. At the end of the day, you want to control somebody. You want to control. You want to control where she goes, where she moves. I ain't got time for all that. You know what I mean? Because I like my freedoms. So if I like my freedom, I'm gonna give the freedom to somebody else. I don't want to know everywhere you're going. I don't need to know if you want to go to the store or you want to get up and go somewhere. Go and get up somewhere. You know what I mean? Do your thing. Now I may ask like, what time do you think you may be back? Because maybe there's stuff that I want to do together with you. You know what I mean? Maybe I want to go to dinner with you or something. But that's really about it. Like I'm not gonna be all up in your mix like that. Because I don't want you
Mr.
really all up in
Best,
my mix like that all the time.
Mr.
You know what I'm
Best, can I
saying?
ask you a question? So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
do you think, and this is what, and I was getting into it, like as far as the reasons, because I don't know the reason why we have such low marriage rates, but I know, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, it's like to me, it's like the math doesn't add up. That it's just education because
Mm-hmm.
not enough of our black women are getting educated for that to be the case. If only
Mm-hmm.
36% are getting degrees, the other
Mm-hmm.
64% are not getting degrees, and they're not getting married either. So it's
Mm-hmm.
more than college degrees, like they keep saying. So my
Mm-hmm.
thing is, and this is just speculation. This is purely speculation, anecdotal. I ain't seen no stats on. I have no idea.
Mhm.
But I know from talking to my sons, and I got 5 sons, they're all in their 20s and 30s.
Wow.
Um, and so,
Congratulations.
yeah, so they're all adults. One is married, the other 4 are not. But like for them, when I talk to them and listen to them and their friends, I think people are not as trusting as they used to be. So
Mhm.
maybe in the past, and this is what I'm getting out of it. This is just me, just like sticking my toe in the water, like what the fuck is going on?
Mhm.
So like when I get married, I don't, like you say, I don't worry about what my wife doing. If my wife got a boyfriend, I don't care. As long as I don't know, I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We're not that psychotic about it. But when I let's talk to my son, that's like they're constantly like, man, I ain't messing with it. You can't trust these girls. These chicks ain't loyal. It started
Mhm.
as a song, but I think that their psychosis, they're stuck on it. I talk to my sons and they're constantly, that's a constant fear of theirs. And I think that the young women in their
Yeah.
20s and 30s have the same thought. So it's making
Yeah.
people have a failure to want to commit because they're
I'm
so
a,
afraid
I'm gonna keep it
of
brief,
whatever.
Rico. I'm gonna keep it
This is
brief.
just me guessing.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it brief because I know. M3 wants to say something. I'm gonna keep it brief. The thing is that in relationships, because we are Americans, and sometimes we can be a bit selfish, right? In relationships, we try to make somebody what they're not, right? And we don't go with somebody who matches our energy. Okay, you could find a woman that possibly maybe look like a Holly Berry or something close to that, who's into books and stuff like you are. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm just throwing a scenario. Okay, I'm not saying this is reality. This is a scenario. But you can find somebody that you are attracted to. Let's just go there. You find somebody who's attracted to who matches your energy. A lot of times, what happens with a lot of younger guys, and I'm not saying these are your sons at all, but what happens with a lot of younger guys out here that they're trying to chase women that don't match their energy. And I'm not even talking about being, because I don't believe that somebody on ain't on your level and all that. I don't believe there ain't no fucking level. The only level is the person that's above all of us, who controls everything. That's the level, okay? And that's it. We all shit on ourselves after a while, and we all we all gonna hit that grave. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody above nobody. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? People just try to force somebody to be on the energy path that they're not on. And if somebody's not on your energy path, let them go. If you've had a bad experience, understand it's because that person, their wavelength wasn't matching with yours. Y'all had two different forms of thinking, two different forms of way of life and everything else. Religion and everything else. Like y'all status quo, y'all ethos, everything, none of that matches. And I think that's the problem. You know what I mean? Young guys, we have to get to the point, you know what I mean? And I'm speaking as a young guy and even to guys that are younger, who are in the 20 and 30s. We got to get to the point where we have to understand, look, if somebody don't match your energy, don't rock with them. And I think guys in your time, y'all kind of understood that. If y'all met a young lady and she ain't really rocking what you was rocking with, she ain't like soul music, you was like, all right, cool. I'll talk to somebody else who does. Like y'all was quick to move on. But brothers now, for some reason, they just take it so personal. I don't know. Like if she don't match your energy, then let her go. Like because she wasting your time, and you wasting her time and yours. Maybe one day she'll get it, maybe she won't. But we got to stop wasting time and stop allowing that bad experience to completely affect everything you're doing, and you'll be able to find somebody that you care about. So yeah, M3, go ahead, bro.
All right. Salute to you, MrBest. How you doing, Rico and Arshawn?
Too, bro.
Man, appreciate you for stopping by, M3.
No problem, man. Y'all like down, so I gotta support. But so I'm just gonna just kind of in my own hypothetical thinking, right? I'm just gonna break things down. Um, hypothetically, these are men who, at one point, probably faced a lot of rejection, and then they held it all in up to a certain point, and then one day you have the internet and people from YouTube with the red pill ideologies that is confirming the way that they're thinking. And then so you're telling them constantly, yo, these are the reasons why you should not get married. You're showing video clips of how men get their hearts broken. But you don't really show the other side of how women get their hearts broken. Now, here's the thing, right? In mainstream media, I mean, women are played as the victim at most times in mainstream. So that's where the RP kind of used that as an excuse, as a way to not um not give a damn about most women, to fill up their RP rage. That's their way of saying, well, this is why we have this space, is because we have no one to protect us. We have no one to hold us accountable and for us to advance. The whole purpose of it is supposed to gain the self confidence of men, just like the feminist community. It was always about empowerment and equal rights for women when it comes to monetary gains, jobs, and all that, equality. But the thing is, we know that, physically, we're not created equal, because if we have to go out for war, we know that the men are going to have to step up. The thing is, everyone has different roles that they play based on their biological genetics. You know what I mean? What we're able to do. Men are physically stronger, but however, women, I feel like they're more organized in most cases. Mentally, they're stronger. Now, people could disagree on that, and that's okay. These are my ideologies. But anyways, I think that when when there's so much hype about having your own freedom as a single man, and you as a man who can't get women to begin with, now you have someone who's selling you these dreams, selling you the hopes that, hey, look, as long as you live your life like a bachelor, you could focus on doing so many great things for yourself without the aid of a woman. But remember, women was put in this planet, right, to be the helpers, as we supposed, and the nurturers for like our children if we ever decide to have one. So to try to exclude that part of our lives, it just doesn't make sense. But for the people in the red pill community, it makes sense to them because they know that they don't have realistically a higher chance to get that particular woman that they really want. And then even if they self-improve and do all these great things, they're still not going to get the woman they want, because you're going to get a bunch of gold diggers, superficial type of women. You're still going to be upset. So that's why you have marriage on the decline. It's because now these days you have too many people promoting negativity, as opposed to real people who are married step up to the plate and showing them the better ways of life and the benefits when you are married.
So let me ask both of you gentlemen. So in other words, what you would say is, and because this is what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that
Mhm.
the reduction in marriage, or the depreciation in marriage, or the marriage lows being so low, is not a product of education, but is a product of men and women both desiring to be single for reasons other than education. Whether it's like, because I constantly hear in the space, because as of late, it's like, what's the benefit? The question I hear is prefaced just like this: what's the benefit to a man being married? And I'm like, when I hear that, it's like, oh, so you're telling them not to? Because they're saying there's no benefit. They literally in these red pill spaces say there's no benefit to a man being married. Am I the only person that heard that?
No, we
Am I
hear
the
that a
only one,
lot now
gentlemen?
these days.
I
Yeah.
literally hear this being repeated. So you got men telling men there's no benefit to you being married. Just I know that you still ain't in love
Prenup.
with, but men telling men There's no benefit to being married, so just get out in the streets and just slay and just spread your seed wherever. Women hearing that as well. Women being self-empowered, whether educated or not. So I see it as being a problem on both sides of the equation. But the only thing I was speaking to was knock it off talking about education. Because if anything, if we're at the bottom for everything, we all fucking need to be educated. We all need a degree. Anybody that can get one. I ain't telling no black person that wants a degree that can get a degree. Now, obviously, I don't want you going to debt or too far into debt. Get a degree. That's insane to me that we would sit there and tell young black girls, don't get no degree, sit around and wait for a man, because my premise is you're in poverty as a girl. Well, what if no man comes and gets you? Because they're also telling the men you don't want these broke ass women. So how do we break the cycle? The best way to break the cycle of poverty is self-improvement through education. That's been proven time and time again. That means women as well as men need to go to college and get a degree.
Rico, I have a question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Because I know I stumbled a little late as far as the education, but are you telling me that what you're hearing is that for men, you need to be educated first in order for before looking for a woman? Is that's what you're hearing?
Absolutely not.
Can
No,
can I
absolutely
answer
not.
this question real quick?
Mhm.
Rico, can I answer your
Yeah.
question real quick? I
Yes.
think okay. Let's be honest, right? I love this show because I feel like I'm in a barbershop.
Mhm.
So
Sorry, black
you
man
know what I
filter.
mean?
Barbershop talk.
but I'm gonna say this, right? Okay, let's be honest. If we as men, right? If we could have Holly Berry Monday, Janet Jackson Tuesday, and whatever, and you could just name whatever woman you could think of that looks good, right? You can have your pick of the litter. Most men are gonna say yes. Okay. The problem is that what happens is that when you're intimate with people, what happens? Somebody catches feelings. Okay. You're going either one of them gonna catch feelings for you, or you're gonna wind up catching feelings for one of the other ones. Or maybe you may catch feelings for all of them. Because that's what intimacy breeds. It breeds emotions, it breeds feelings. That's what it's called. I mean, you can do the scientific studies on it if you want, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go down that far the rabbit hole. I think it's kind of common sense if you don't know. But if you don't, do your research. So with that being said, right? Based on that, because you're gonna eventually catch feelings for somebody, or somebody's gonna eventually catch feelings for you. That's when the love thing gets mixed up in there. If it wasn't for love, men would just be we would just be doing what we doing and keep it moving, right? They'd be like, all right, I'm gonna see this girl Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. You have a whole itinerary, you have a whole lineup, or as they call it, you have your whole roster, right? Of women that you're seeing, right? But the problem is that either they catch feelings or you Mr. Best also snuggles. It might be. It might be. You know what I mean? Nah, I'm not Snuggles though, but shout out to Snuggles. I like that name too. But if anything, right, like somebody's gonna catch feelings. So because you're gonna catch feelings or somebody's gonna catch feelings, that's when things get, it gets mixy because there's always love. You know what I mean? And when that love kicks in, because eventually for all men, we're gonna face that somebody that we feel like, oh yo, she a little different than the other ones, man. You tell your friends, yo, she different than the other ones. You know what I mean? Because you feeling her, then that's when things get complicated. When that gets complicated, because love sometimes can complicate things. You know what I mean? What happens is that you know we as men at times, sometimes we don't know how to handle love. To be honest with you, or we may love a woman who is not ready for that path that we want to go on when it comes to love. So now we not that we got to hide our feelings, but now the feelings that we have is not going to manifest because she don't want that from you, and she ain't looking from that from you. She just wanted to have a good time, like you say you wanted to have a good time. You know what I mean? So that's when it gets complicated. So then once that happens, now that you feel those feelings, you know what I'm saying, and let's say now you wanna get married, but you're so used to being one way. You know what I mean? You got to factor in. All right, well, I'm feeling this person. I want to be married. I want to do all that. But what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? And most men are not taught what that means. Women a lot of times are taught that. They're taught what it is to be a wife. You know what I mean? And most times, you know what I'm saying, they're taught how to be a wife. Nowadays, modern women, some of them are. I think all of them desire to be wives, but some of them are taught it, some of them are not. But at the end of the day, women are mostly are taught how to be wives, right? They mostly
Yeah.
are pointed to be wives, right? They're
Yes.
pointed to go after the ring. Men, we're not pointed that direction. We're not pointed to be husbands. We pointed to be playboys. We
But
pointed to be out here doing a thing. So that's why when you have those two different ideologies and we're not taught how to be husbands, that's why marriages always suffer because we may have feelings for a woman, or we may even love this woman, right? But we have playboy habits.
okay, let
So
me.
it's hard for you to hit that switch. You understand what I'm saying? At
Yes, I
times
do.
for men.
But I want to have this. This is an all male panel. This is for men. Okay. And I want you to stay in that space where you're at, Mr. Best. I want you to stay in that space where you're at, okay?
I'm here.
Because what I'm sitting there saying is that, and I want us all to think about this seriously. Okay, so and I asked about it earlier because when I sit there and say it's like when they talk about not wanting women, black women to have a college education, so you're that means basically they're uneducated, they're at the bottom of the tier, they're in a space of economic need. They
Okay.
need got a high school diploma, maybe 8th, 10th grade education. She come up, she might be pretty, she can look like Halle Berry, but she's uneducated, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So what I'm sitting there saying is a woman like that, everybody wants a Halle Berry with an 8th grade education because she needs your ass. Doesn't mean she wants you, she needs you. That's a different thing than she wants you. So if you got a Halle Berry or a Beyonce with a 6th grade education that ain't good for nothing else because she don't speak well, she can't talk well, she's uneducated, because that's where we came from. Let's keep it 100, as y'all like to say. Let's keep it a buck. Black women in the past were uneducated. Right now, let me tell you, take it out of black women. There are women around the world who education stops usually at the 6th or 7th or 8th grade in certain countries, to include in Africa. There are countries in Africa where they educate females up to a certain grade, and that's it. It's a wrap. The men will go on to high school, they will go on to college, but the girls were done because you're going to be a wife and nothing more. That shit was here. So when
Mind
we
if I
talk
add on
about
to that?
the good old days, let's talk about it for real or don't talk about it at all. See, that's the stuff that they bring up and they throw in your face. Oh, back in the 50s. Yeah, okay. But because you know what happened was I can tell you this. When I was graduating, you had home economics where they taught you how to make beds, cook, and everything else. The reason being is because women were driven, black girls were driven into certain fields, and black boys were driven into other fields. So they set up the dynamic for years where you're gonna learn a trade, mechanic, carpentry, masonry. Your wife is gonna learn housekeeping shit. It was that for a while for a reason. So I'm not saying that, and I'm saying in the current state and time, and we fought through the civil rights era and everything else so that we could be educated because we knew that there were lawyers that were graduating from HBCUs that still had to be a janitor because they would not let them practice law. We went through all of this stuff. So what I'm saying is that if do we want to be in a space? I don't want any woman to accept me because she needs me rather than she wants me. So the reality is, you got Halle Berry, she with you, MrBest. but she got an 8th grade education? Or do you want Halle Berry with a PhD? I want her at her best. Because you know what? Here's the thing. If she got an 8th grade education, if I fall off, she gonna leave my ass for the next person that, can do it. But if she got a PhD, here's the belief. The belief is between a woman with you for a need as opposed to a woman with you for a want.
No,
Want
Rico,
is love.
I
Want
agree with
is
you.
love. Need
I agree
is
with you, Rico.
necessity.
No,
And
Rico,
that's all I'm saying.
I agree with you, Rico. I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm gonna keep it quick. I agree with you. And the reason for the name change is that's my new YouTube channel. Please look up the Intellectual Soapbox Wally. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Knowledge relationships too. If you haven't already. But yeah, of course, I don't like dumb women. I hate women that are dumb. If you're a dumb woman, like I just can't be around you. Like I don't do the airhead stuff. You're an airhead, I can't do it. I like somebody who's educated, and you could. I mean, and I'm not just saying. I'm not talking about like an education as far as like just a master's degree. I'm talking about just being educated in life. Period. Like you understand people, you understand relationships, you have good relationships. I
got a high school diploma, so I
yeah. And let's just say the education matches that too, right? Let's just throw a hypothetical. So she's well rounded, she's well educated in all fields. Yes, I want that. I can't be with somebody who's an airhead. I just can't do it. I don't know how other men do it, but I need somebody who can think, somebody who I can have conversation with, somebody who can basically not challenge me. Because no, I need somebody to challenge me, not try to correct me like they're my mother. You know what I mean? Challenge me, help me to grow. You know what I mean? And I help you to grow because we're both two different people. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna give me your shit experience, I'm gonna give you my shit experience. We can have great conversation, we can have intellectual conversation, heartfelt conversation, and we could both grow. So yes, I would prefer the educated on all levels. Go ahead, M3.
Yeah, but
yeah. So no, we definitely get like where you're coming from, and that's why like that's the part that I do have against when it comes to that type of ideology is because you want it easy for yourself in life. Okay, that's the easy way out. That's just like the same way. Picture this though. You sounded more like a feminist, you know, because most women will be like, will encourage other women, well, save yourself for the marriage for this guy as long as he's able to provide for you, to have that type of money, that type of income. And then for men, it's like, well, as long as I have something that's going on and this woman's not college educated, then she is going to need me. But here's the thing. If you're not an attractive dude, let's just be honest with you, buck 100. I don't care if the woman is not college educated. She could work at McDonald's or whatever. She's not gonna go after you because of her status, her financial status. If anything, she's gonna choose someone else that's more attractive and that's gonna make something a little bit more than what you're making. Because remember, they do have the options. They have the pick and the pool of guys that they could choose from, or guys that will be choosing them. Because we look at the looks, they look at the things that we have to offer. But so men who goes back and saying, well, I want this traditional old school women like, my grandparents had. Well, were your grandparents really happy with each other? That's something that I don't think no one really asks. But you see him, you grew up, and the wife was submissive, but you don't know what she was thinking on the inside. She probably was like, damn, I don't want to have these kids by this dude. I wish I was never married to him, but I need him because he's working at a union job. And I have nothing. I have no education to back myself up. But let that be a time where women back in the 50s, 60s, 70s had equal rights as far as the jobs. This is why the feminist movement came in. Had they had the jobs and the education, more higher education than men, all these old school, no disrespect to our grandparents or whatever, but I feel like they would have been more
rate. Same thing, yes.
Yeah, or they would probably be a little bit more submissive because they won't be able to control the woman. because the woman won't really need them at that moment. You know, pick somebody who wants you for you. Okay. Now here's the thing, Rico. Right? I know most of the time back then, women would choose men because of what they need. The good part about men back then is that some of them chose them not even just to look for a provider, but because they had so much swag and charisma, they was already secure to be around that man's presence. That we could look for. That's one thing. One positive thing we could look for our grandparents and our fathers and all that. You know, some of them. You know what I mean? But for the ones that had that type of charisma that they could just talk to anybody, because man, I feel like that's what we need in this generation. If men could really take something positive, learn how to build your charisma up so women could want you as opposed to needing you. That's all I'm gonna say.
That you said it perfect, because that's exactly what I was sitting there saying was I was completely lost on how men today seem to want to put women in a place that they need you rather than they want you. And I'm like, you guys really need to look at that. That's crazy.
But I also got to speak to a lot of things that do have to do with female nature as well, right? I don't want to leave that out. You know what I mean? I think that some women, not all, you know what I mean, there is a rare class where a woman, there are certain women who don't have this perspective, right? But a lot of women, unfortunately, have perspective where they are looking for someone to be a provider and a protector. You know what I'm saying? And and that's all they're looking for. You know what I mean? And but if that man has a hard time, or if that man is going through something or whatever, they don't want no parts of that. They just want to just basically be leeches and suck up. You know what I mean? That man and their personality and all the man's money and resources and everything else. You know what I'm saying? And they'll even be nice and submissive to that man. You know what I mean? And he will never know until the storm really hits. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of women want that, but there is a rare class of women. There's a rare class of women who actually, who do love you for you, and who's willing to love you for you. That's a very rare find, though.
But
very rare.
Can I?
It's also
go ahead.
It's also rare to find a man who, you know what I mean, who can also have balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of guys, they want to be on that macho stuff, right? They want to prove that they're the man. They want to smash everything around. But there are certain men who actually really do care about love, who actually do care about relationships. You know what I mean? Who actually do care about women on that level. But that's a rare class as well.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So finding either one is rare. It's hard.
Which leads to the high rate of
divorce.
Lack of marriage. Not even divorce, is lack of marriage. Because the thing is, we're not even talking about divorce. We're talking about people who are just not even getting married at all. I got 4 sons who swear they are never going to get married. Now, 2 of them don't have any kids. And I was like, okay, if you want to be that selfish, I can't knock you for it. You know, they have no kids. The oldest one, he's married, got kids. And then 2 others got baby mamas. And I'm like, why don't you marry him? This, that, whatever. That's a whole nother headache. But that's the thing is if we even talk about, like I said, everything we talked about so far up to this point was from the female point of view. And this, that, and what they're looking for, this, or whatever. But like even from the male point of view, what the hell are you looking for? And why are you out there? Because I hear the guys, again, they're out there trying to get a high body count. So I'm like, if you're trying to get a high body count, are you looking for a wife? But then you tell me you can't find nobody wifey material. Well, you're out there slaying the streets. You ain't looking for a damn wife.
Yeah, you're not. But and you would be a
little bit more reserved about, slaying the streets.
Well, Rico, it's also the environments that they're in, right?
Yep.
Like, so most of the time, these people are meeting on different dating apps or things like that, or they're going with the place that they go to, right? If they go to a place, they are meeting someone in a place where if you're meeting look, if you're meeting a woman at a bar, or you meet a woman where there's certain activities going on, or even if you meet her at a lounge, you kind of know her mindset, right?
Right. And the reality is,
She,
if a dude,
if
if
you,
you
it's
tell him, if you on Tinder, you're not looking for a wife.
yeah, you're
You ain't
not,
looking
and the
for a
thing
wife
is,
on Tinder. You're looking for a piece
the
of
thing
tail.
exactly, the thing is, you have to put yourself in environments where you can find what you're looking for. If you're looking for a woman that you want to be traditional, that you want to have values, you have to go to places where women like that are around. Okay? Stop trying to make the girl who works at McDonald's be like the one who works at a 5-star restaurant. They're two different people.
But shouldn't they, Mr. Beth?
Yeah.
My thing is like I tell my son, it's like, shouldn't there? And I always try to tell them, like, get your head space
Hmm.
in a space to look for something more in, so you can even be because if your headspace it need. So here's the thing, like hypothetically, you could be at your job
Hmm.
Hey, Rico, real quick.
and yes sir,
M3 said he's got a dip. I don't know if he can get on real quick just to say peace.
yeah, he got it. I'm done.
Yeah. I gotta take care of some things real quick, but I just want to say thank you guys for opening up the platform for people to join in, like myself. Very
Yeah.
humble, but hey, keep it
Appreciate you,
up. Keep
man.
up the good job.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right,
Appreciate you.
no
You know, we'll
problem.
see
Let
you
him
soon.
three.
All right, later, Mr. Best in the World, Rico, Arshawn.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
Definitely.
peace.
Always, sir, always.
All right, Rico,
But
my
yeah,
bad. Go
it's
ahead.
Yeah. No, the only thing I was saying was I try to tell people, like, even like, okay, like I said, unfortunately I've done the dance a time or two.
hmm
But every time I got ready to do it, was like my headspace had to be receptive to
hmm
the thought of, okay, I'm trying to enter into a union.
hmm
If I mean, like after my second divorce, I was like, man, fuck being married. I was just like really there.
hmm
So probably the greatest wife in the world could have came during that period.
and you
You're
wasn't
gonna
with it.
get bagged, and I just because my headspace wasn't there.
Hmm.
So, and I always try to tell them, it's like, and I'm not saying like, of course, if you go through a divorce, you got to go through that period. But like
Hmm.
my other four never been married, so they ain't had that thing. But I'm like, put yourself in a space where if your headspace is clear, you're open to the conversation, you're open to the thought, you're open to the possibilities. Not saying you're out there looking for a wife, but are you open to the possibilities? I know my sons will be out there in the streets trying to slay everything, and the last thing on earth they thinking about is a committed relationship. Like, then you need to keep your ass at home. You don't need to be out there damaging other people. And I tell them all the time, in one ear out the other. So that's why I sit there and say, when I know, and I just look at it as my son's being a microcosm. I'm like, they out there slaying young ladies in the streets. They ain't thinking about a relationship. So when these
Hmm.
men come into this space and they tell me, "Oh, you always take the women's side," I'm like, "You sound like my son." I ain't here. Yeah, I'm taking the women's side because I know what the fuck they doing. I know what they're
Mm.
doing. So you're sitting there trying to pretend like you're not. You're out here caring about your own carnal needs. You want to have sex with somebody's daughter, and you're not thinking about the damage that you're doing to that person because you're lying to them,
Hmm.
not lying to them outright, but you're letting them believe that you're interested in a more serious relationship than you are. Because I know my sons. I'm like, you don't like that girl like that. So whatever you said to her to get in her pants, that's messed up. But this is what young men are out here in the streets doing. And if
Mm.
anybody want to sit there and believe, oh no, my son is like, no, if you have a son,
Uh-huh.
he's out here saying whatever he got to say to get skin to skin.
Hmm. Well, see, it's also this, right? Like I think here's the thing, right? And this is one thing I always tell women. I always tell women this. I said men are intentional, right? You know what I mean? When men are intentional. Um, and the reason the reason I say men are intentional is, stop sleeping with men who are not showing you that they are going to be, your husband. You know what I'm saying? Because if a man is willing to be in a committed relationship, he's going to do certain things for you, right? He's gonna make sure that you're being financially responsible. He's gonna try to find housing for you and him both. You know what I mean? He's gonna do certain things and put himself in certain positions if he's serious about you. And let's say you got kids, he's gonna do things for the kids too. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be taking them to school with you. He's gonna be checking on the homework. Oh man, how they doing in school? Like he gonna really be about it. But if he ain't doing that and he just coming through and just coming through to come through, then he's showing you who he is, ladies. Like, so I don't. At the end of the day, I can't put so much blame on the men if these men are showing them that they are not serious about really being there. And he's showing you he's not serious. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? He took you out to maybe a nice place or whatever. You had a good time, whatever. Cool. Okay, now what's after that? What's after that? What are the steps that he's doing after that to show you that he's gonna be a man that's really about being with you? Because there's more steps than that, and I think women have to see that because you got to just learn the game. You know what I mean? Everybody plays the game, but you just got to learn the game. You know what I mean? You got to learn the dating game, and once you learn the dating game, okay, this person's serious. Nah, they're not that serious. This person's just a friend. Oh, they're just a friend with benefit. Oh, you know what? I think I could date this person. Man, I think I can marry them. You got to put them on different levels. They're not all the same levels, okay? They're just not on the same levels, and we have to understand that there are levels in our relationships, and there have to be levels to certain people as far as what they're going to bring to our life. You know what I mean? And they show you that. Also, if it's the other way around, and it's a brother and he looking for a woman, brother, if she likes to go out with her friends, right? That's who she is. She showed you that from the beginning. Yo, I like to go out. I like to hang out. Stop trying to make her into something that she's not. You know what I mean? But if she's a type that really is looking for a husband or somebody to date, and she's showing you that, and she's giving you that energy and those actions, right? Then believe that too. You know what I mean? You gotta. It's all about actions. It's not about what they say. It's all about their actions. Is your actions matching up? If they don't match up, then guess what? It ain't gonna work. So yeah, give me my shot clock. Give me my shot clock back, Arshawn. Give me my shot clock.
Now I thought Rico was supposed to be jumping in. He's got a dip.
No, well, no, I'm gonna jump in on this time.
You
But
gonna jump?
huh? Can you hear me?
No, you said keep going, keep going.
Oh no. I'll just touch up on how the mess went with Bro Clarence. Uh, and Mr. Best saw on the previous with Daryl, which was I was glad he came up. He saw how like me and Bro Clarence we were trying. It didn't work out the way we were trying to put the clarity on our conversation. So Bro Clarence did a stream today and give himself and myself an opportunity to try to put clarity to what we were saying. And during the midst of that, it went left, it went sideways, and Chaotic decided to show up. And when he decided to show up, he just reiterated all the things that we're going to discuss about him tomorrow. The words that he said again, and I try to tell everybody like these are not my words, my attitude, my opinion, but you just can't be out here in these streets saying things about my people, big up in other people, and so on and so forth, and think that people should not take you to account for it. And he tried to do that tonight, and when he came in there because he felt like I was going to call him to account for it, he come in there. Oh, Rico, you old. I'm like, you said whatever you want about me. Yeah, everything you said about me is true, but everything that I'm going to dissect about you tomorrow is true also, because these are the words out of your mouth. So if you want to call me old, I'm old. You want to call me fat, I'm fat. You want to call me bald headed, I'm bald headed. You want to call me a drunk, Every word you said about me is true. And everything I'm going to talk about tomorrow that you said out of your mouth will also be true. See, I don't run from my truths, and you can't run from yours. To the point he got so pressed, he threatened me with a copyright strike.
That was crazy.
I'm like, do it. I don't care. Oh, you only got 20 subs. I can have 0. I'm going to put my motherfucking foot on your neck until you apologize to me and my people. Because he said some very foul things about people who look like the three of us, and I don't accept it. He could have just sat there and said, hey, look, Rico, I was hot, I was mad, spoke out of turn, I shouldn't have said it. Okay, I get that. He doubled, tripled, quadrupled, quintupled, and some more shit down. And then he sent his little cuck incels after me. I'm like, you know what? You can't affect me. Again, I will say this once, twice, and for the last time. I do not condemn you. Your own fucking words will. If you say anything I say out of my mouth that's wrong, if it's wrong, then the person who points it out, they're not wrong for pointing it out. I'm wrong for saying it. What did I tell you, Arshawn? Is the problem on the speaker or the listener? I always say 80-20. The speaker. I am obligated to be responsible for what I say and for making sure that what I said was understood. If I don't do that and you misunderstand something I'm saying, it's not your fault for misunderstanding. It's my fault for not clearing the shit up. Chaotic was very clear about what he said. He meant what he said, and what I'm going to sit there and analyze and dissect is exactly what the hell he meant. That's it. Copyright, strike it. I don't care. We're gonna do it. Let's come on over at 6 o'clock on Critically Drink. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Best, you got any parting shots on the way out?
Man, I just want to say, man, you know, need to have peace in the YouTube streets. Peace in the YouTube streets, man. Let's just get to that. You know what I mean? Let's build a community, y'all, and let's focus on creating content. And let's stop being the content so much. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, is the thing is what you're doing and the platform that you're creating. This is to all content creators. You know what I mean? And what y'all doing, what y'all creating, will it stand the test of time? That's all I gotta say.
Facts. So definitely
Thank you.
tomorrow, anybody that tunes in, we do plan to unpack a lot of the talking points that Chaotic Truth has put out in the last week and a half or so. Again, I try to be thoughtful with the question. I do have a lot of troll in me, so some of the questions are trolly, but some of them are very thoughtful to actually see, is there a truth to be found in some of the things that he's saying. So I wanted to approach it. I didn't want to just outright dismiss everything he's saying. So I want to really critically think about what he's saying. Critically and drink. Critically drinking. Wait, which way? Yeah, critically drinking. Yeah, there we go. So that's what we're trying to do tomorrow. So please stop by if you get a chance to. Mr. Best, I definitely appreciate you for stopping by. I don't know if this will pop up. Can you see that thing in the wait.
Yeah,
Rico
yeah.
approved.
Mm-hmm.
But that is very important. We try to be based in truth. And if you want to dismiss us for whatever reason, we're black, we're fat, we drink, we're old, you can try every dismissive thing you want. And then we won't end with this person. We will go after um, other and we start here because again, I'm not gonna say we can go after every content creator because I'm not, but ones that I find to be harmful to the community. And I think Brother Chaotic I think he can be redeemed. But redemption only comes with an apology and a choice to self-correct. If you don't make an apology, you don't make a choice to self. And that's what I'm really trying to push him into. He probably, if he won't, he probably gonna be like, "Fuck you, you old man. I'm never gonna do it," and that's fine. That's okay. But I'm speaking to any of his fans who have an opportunity to go to him and say, yeah, you was a little left. Maybe if you don't want to, I'm gonna stay on that ass to the end. So when people are like, well, why didn't you let up? Because he didn't want me to.
Now,
That's it.
Rico, I'm gonna let you know with respect and love. What was that sentence he said, MrBest? With respect and love, you disgust me. No, but with respect and love, Rico, I know I ain't gonna keep talking about him. We got Monday. I know you
And that's
might
it.
stay on him. You might stay on him, but woo, I got that one shot.
Well,
One shot.
I catch him in the streets elsewhere, like I
Yeah,
did today.
he likes catching you
It had
over at Bro
nothing to do with
Clarence's.
us.
Yep.
Yeah, it had nothing. That's where I keep catching him at.
Yeah, Bro
Because
Clarence.
Bro Clarence will let him come up, and he come over and he try his little BS, and I'm like, you better hope I don't hear. And to be honest with you, he wasn't supposed to be on the stream. Me and
Yeah.
Bro Clarence was talking about MrBest. We were talking about what we went down with Daryl. That was what the topic was. But he wanted to come in and get in the stream, and then you gonna come get this smoke. I ain't forgot who your ass is.
All right, Rico. Well, let's get ready to head out. Everybody, thank you for being here. All the people that stopped by in the chat, definitely appreciate you. I was only going to try to stay 30 minutes. If Jay Takashi is still on, I did pin him in the chat. So please go over to see if he's still streaming and go ahead and support our brother who was streaming when we came on. So wasn't trying to take anybody viewers from him. We just wanted to come on and speak our piece because I did see Rico going at it with chaotic truth. So again, we'll be speaking on that tomorrow. Everybody, I am going to leave you with the promo for
Yes.
tomorrow's show.
Because I gotta go upstairs and kiss my wife ass now.
Yeah, you go do that, Rico.
Y'all got me in trouble.
All right, everybody.
I gotta go upstairs begging.
You go do that. Hey, all right, good.
Adios.
All right, good night.
Now, y'all.
Meine Arbeit für richtig hältst. Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib jetzt eine Stimme ab, wenn ja, für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt eine Stimme ab, wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich Arbeit für richtig hält. Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig Dienste meines Volkes, gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab, wenn